Everybody's going crazy. The world's going crazy. Trump's going crazy. The Senate's going crazy. Ronco going crazy. Everybody's going crazy now. This is segment 2 with Comedics, with the Earth Center. I'm gonna let my Comedic host here, let's do her thing and show their products and talk about this, what the center's all about, okay? I'm gonna let y'all do your thing now. Go ahead.
All right, and thanks again for having us, Claude. This is a great opportunity for us to try to, let everybody know what we're all about and that we're here as an alternative. The Earth Center is an organization that was founded by Prophet Nebdabala Musa Mardenabik. He was a Dogon high priest, and he had the vision to bring the traditional ancestral knowledge from the bush, from the heart of Merita, where it's being preserved, and he had the vision to bring that outside of the continent, out to Africans in the diaspora and to greater humanity, period. So he funded the Earth Center to actually be the organization to facilitate this the transmission of this education. And I'm gonna let Hatini go into the fullness of the organization, the different aspects of it, and yeah, he's gonna speak a little bit more about that.
Greetings, Claude. Thank you for having us on. Well, the Earth Center is an educational organization. It's based in a traditional African education, knowledge that's being preserved there, and we're structured as a nonprofit in the U.S. So we're a nonprofit 501c3 organization. We have locations nationwide. We have just opened up a location in Houston. We have the location here in the New York area. We have Baltimore location, Chicago location, and a San Diego location. We also have a location in Montreal, Canada, a location in London, England as well, and our home base in Burkina Faso. The basic mission of the organization is to act as hubs where people can come and use us as a resource to either study from us, study holistic healing, history, traditional education, or you can come use us as a hub for products as well. So we have a publishing house at all these locations where we distribute products, calendars, magazines, periodicals that have different articles on traditional knowledge, on holistic healing, on spirituality, on modern life, all kinds of things. So we have all these centers around the world that act as these hubs for those things as well. And at the same time, we also have charitable projects that we're doing between here and Africa, or as we like to say, Merita. And those projects are focused around cultural preservation. So we do some well building in areas where we need a clean water access. And we also do temple refurbishment and restoration to preserve the integrity of these temples in the traditional lands from colonialism back home as well. And we also are doing a healing center, which is a big project that we're doing, which is a healing center, a holistic healing center staffed by all traditional healers. So, people can come visit as well. And we have farming projects, seed bank projects, all kind of stuff we're doing as well. So that's like a little bit of the scope. But our main mission is to make these resources available to the modern public who might not know or have exposure to some of these things.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, and that's one of the key elements, is to making people aware that this knowledge exists. Because I know myself, when you look at the Kemetic culture, you look at pyramids, you look at temples and hieroglyphic writing and things like that, and you just look at it in awe, most people. And even if you don't understand the culture at all, you're just fascinated by the majesty of it. And even myself, I just wonder, well, what happened to the people? Where did the people go? And I even thought that the writings was art. I didn't realize that that was an actual language. So this is a language, a culture, traditions that have been preserved in secrecy for over 2,000 years. And it's because of, after many, many invasions, our ancestors decided that they did not want to be colonized. So they wanted to preserve that culture, preserve what they were doing. And so they did it in secrecy, literally, for 2,000 years. And this is the first time that it's being brought out back to the public. So our founder, Prophet Nabal Denebig, he saw the desperate condition that humanity was in. And it was like, particularly people in the U.S., in England, and all over the world. He just can see the conditions that we're living in. And it's because we've lost connection to our roots. We've lost connection to our culture. So he wanted to reintroduce us to our living culture that has not gone away. So when we say, well, where did the people go? They're still here. They just don't have the big monuments. They don't have the big temples and all the things that people came to take away from them. So they said, we'll just do this very humbly now. So they do it now more openly, and are sharing this knowledge once again to the public. And that's where our founder, he said, in order to assist humanity, he made it his mission. And he went and got permission from the leadership, the elders, and said, I want to build a bridge to reconnect humanity back to the culture. So that's what he did, and he traveled around the world. He fluently spoke over 13 languages, and he went to sacred sites and temples to assist people to restore the culture, to restore what had been lost or stolen, and to fix all that was broken. So even now we go to the traditions and people will say, well, why do you live so simply? Why do you live without all the opulence when you could have that because you had it before? And it's like that richness is still embedded in the culture. They don't need the monuments anymore. They don't need all of the things that we would say attracts barbarism. So they just do things very simply now. And so he's, again, reintroducing that culture through the Earth Center, and it is such an amazing organization. And what we are exposing you to or sharing with you is really just a tip of the iceberg, because the foundation of the organization is so deep, it's so rich and so founded. We often want to give all of the credit to our founder, which is Prophet Naba, but he even says that he received this information, this knowledge, this wisdom from his masters and his masters' masters. So this knowledge has just been passed down through generation after generation, and now we are privy to it. So we're so honored, so grateful, so thankful that he's opened this door and built this bridge for us to reconnect.
Okay. I see you got some interesting books over there. You want to show what you got?
We have a few different books, and his first book that was printed here in the U.S. is the philosophy, Initiatic Tales. I'm sorry. This is the first book that was printed in the U.S., and it's called Initiatic Tales of Heqrahim. And this is a book that has traditional stories, Kemetic stories that really are designed for children, but it touches humanity on so many levels that adults, we can find the rich, deep knowledge of how our ancestors sat at the feet of masters and learned these type of stories by the campsite, and they just bring so much profundity to the life. So this is a number of short stories, but they're very rich and rewarding. The second book is The Philosophy Podium. This book is a group of essays by our founder, and it really exposes humanity of how we have deteriorated, because it gives you such a history that the things that we don't understand, because we can all see the barbarism and the dysfunction in society, but we don't understand it. So we have a little bit of this, we have a little bit of that, but we don't know how to fit the puzzle pieces together. And this collection of essays really exposes us and puts those puzzle pieces into place. So I tell everyone, if you need a book to really open your understanding to humanity's history and how we've deteriorated, this is a must-have. And this book is a book of purification. This is the latest book that was just released within the last couple of months. It's been released in English, French, and Spanish because that's how important it is. We need to expose this knowledge, not just to the people that we know, the people that we see. This knowledge needs to be worldwide. And that was part of the mission, is to share this knowledge, not just locally, but to make it a global movement. In this book of purification, it really touches on like the study of energies, because everything in the existence is.
Leaf through some of it. Maybe you can continue speaking.
Everything in the existence is about energy, and how does energy work? How does energy resonate in the existence, and how do we connect with it as a human being? If we want to be connected and raise our quality, we have to understand how to control those energies. And the first part of controlling those energies is your purity and cleansing the human being. And we don't think of ourselves as dirty or corrupt, but we are. You know, if we all sat in this room for 2 or 3 hours, we would all start to stink. We sweat, we have bad breath, all sorts of, we pass gas, all of that is like just part of the human being is just corruption. And we want to think of ourselves as these pristine individuals, but that's not really the case. And so with us, if we're trying to elevate ourselves, if we are trying to get better, we have to first be able to clean that physical filth, but then we also have to learn how to clean the spiritual filth, to clean our energies so that we can reach other dimensions and go to different places. So this is what this book is all about, exposing us to this level of being able to clean your energies.
Wow. This is very nice. Very nice. You want to know more about it? You want to say anything about the book, anything? Or?
The book is called the Book of Purifications. Yeah. And this is written by Naba Musa Morodenibig, our founder, and then co-written by his son also, Naba Idita Shanmira, and who's very active in the organization right now. And it's very enlightening because you have to clean yourself before ceremony. You know, some of these traditions have persisted. You see in Islam, there's wudu, where you doing the purification and cleaning the body. This is a Kemetic concept. So in order, and you see it in many different spiritual practices around the world. Someone I just know was traveling to Japan, and before you enter the temple, you have to do all these things with water and do ablutions before you enter. And so this is a practicality that exists in the spiritual world, which are ways to spiritually purify yourself before doing anything, before praying to your people, praying to God, any kind of spiritual practice you may have. You know? Very important. So this book focuses on that, on being able to purify yourself with the elements and all those practices.
Okay, so basically it gives you the inner and outer. It made you clean, and it's very interesting because I tell y'all out there, you do the evolutionaries, you got to do a lot of little stuff. It ain't that simple. It's not that simple. I've been through that. It ain't that simple, but it's clean your soul out, spirit. But a lot of people got some dirty souls out there. You don't need it. I heard about your talking. Y'all need some of this. So listen what they're saying now. All right? That's what they're saying.
Yeah. I mean, it's a key part of the conditioning that we've been put on there. Because, I mean, it's really basic logic. If you're trying to... the gods, we have this idea that the gods are pure, right? That's one attribute we assign to gods, right? They're pure, incorruptible, immortal. Right? These are some of the attributes we assign to gods, right? How could you, as a human being, who's a corruptible being, right? As you pointed out before, the very process of living and breathing is producing corruption. But I think I could somehow communicate with a pure, incorruptible essence. I could somehow communicate with that essence or that being without being pure myself. So it's one of these things, and Christianity is one of the religions that's kind of like totally kind of taken that whole aspect of the spirituality out of it. And so they'll say stuff like, come as you are and all of this. But if you really think about it, as I said before, if you're trying to communicate with something that's divine and pure, and you're dirty, it's like me walking out in the street and like, seeing somebody who's, homeless, smelly, and, let's say I'm, decked out in my white, divine holy day garb or something like that. It's not like, I wouldn't necessarily want them to come and, be hugging on me and all of that. Not that, I wouldn't have contact with them per se.
Kind of like
it needs to be, but if I'm trying to stay clean, why would I go be around people that are dirty and
I get you.
be associated with them? So it's the same way.
Okay.
If you have a pure being, why would it put itself in a compromised situation trying to deal with you that's dirty?
Like tainted.
Like physically dirty, and a lot of times too, even mentally dirty, like thinking impure thoughts.
Yeah, like I have some conversations sometimes like that. My cousins and stuff we talk, but it's like some female you deal with, but you say they tainted. So I don't want to be bothered, you know what I'm saying? What's wrong? No, like they're in my lifestyle, so I like stay away from them. Because these days you got to be careful of what you deal with, because there's good stuff and there's bad stuff. And they tainted, you don't want to get that kind of area on you and be tainted with. You know what I'm saying? So if you say spiritual and mental and physical, intellect, I hear you saying, that's what the people need to understand about that physical aspect, how you cleanse yourself.
Right.
Yeah, I grew up in New Jersey originally, and I now live in Merita, back and forth, and spend time in Burkina Faso and Togo. And I got into the habit of doing these purifications on the daily. And after getting into that habit for years now and benefiting from it, when I slip, or let's say I have a lot of work to do, or I'm traveling and I don't do it for a couple of days, I really feel it. Because it's very important to reset yourself, to clean yourself spiritually, not just physically with soap and stuff like that, but to also wash your essence, so that you can be clear. And it's amazing. It has effects on your dreams, has effects in your daily life, effects on how you can maintain your own discipline and cleanliness in your life. It's a very practical thing, it's not a far out thing. Like if you spend time cleaning your mind, cleaning your body, and cleaning your spirit, you'll be in a good place. And so that's what the book focuses on, is how to keep your spirit clean.
That's good. So it's in other words, keep you from being in that slave mental area, because you are who you're enslaved to. So that demon, whatever inside you that you were constantly doing, is your slave mentality of yourself. So help you keep your mind focused, I guess, right?
Yeah, if I don't purify myself regularly, then I can feel myself becoming more subject to my environment. So let's say I'm hanging out with a bunch of people that are more kind of mentally sick or going through something, and I'm trying to help them. I can actually feel that affecting me more when I'm not taking care of my own purity. If I'm taking care of my own purity, I can be amongst people, all kinds of different people, and then still be able to keep my own discipline clean. But that takes a lot of discipline and vigilance.
Yeah, like correction officers in jail cells. A lot of correction officers work in jails, start acting like the criminals. So I understand what you're saying. Same kind of mindset. They act at their environment sometimes. Comes out. But y'all do a lot of good work at the Earth Center. Y'all deal with a lot of good work and help a lot of people out, help bring a lot of to the forefront. They do a lot of spirituality, help a lot of people who lost. A lot of times you don't know who can find their way, and you've been stuck in society and with the upbringing of different areas. So comedics help, at least my attribute, help give you a good focus and know the truth. It's better knowing the truth than be lied to all your life. And you can sit there in your house and you read different books and you keep learning for this, but come down the long run when you no longer exist and you transcend the next level, you want to know how to do this the right way than the wrong way and be stuck somewhere you don't want to be stuck. That's why comedics is a little better area to learn the true foundation of our ancestors, how we always came up of. So what got you involved in it?
over the years, I've always been seeking, because I didn't believe the things I was being taught in school, the way the system worked, the modern politics. I never bought into it. I was kind of an independent like that. I didn't like it. I didn't like what it represented, and it didn't make sense to me. So I've been on a path of kind of learning alternative things for a long time. Studying traditional societies, because traditional societies, indigenous societies, seem to be holding something more wise, than this modern craziness. So that I was already on that, but this thing kept chasing me because it's my heritage. It's where I come from. My essence comes from this. So after a while, after harmonizing myself and studying and learning, it drew me back home to where this is being preserved in Africa. And so it was just a process. I would study different things, and I kept getting directed back to Africa, back to these traditions specifically, the Dogon traditions. And then finally I got involved in actually studying there. But it was something that, for me, really chased me down, into it, because it has to do with original human culture. And myself, in the way my mind was when I was born and growing up, I never liked the modern culture. And it was whatever that part of me that maybe persists from that time. It's something I couldn't erase, even though I wanted to just try this and try that and live life. It was something that was always present. And at the end of the day, probably about 12 years ago, I started studying with our founder and started learning about indigenous culture, traditional culture from a real perspective, not from books, not from going on visits or vacations or just, going somewhere just for a week, but really learning and becoming an initiate back into my own culture. And when I did that, that's really when I got very involved in it.
Okay.
But that's my personal story
Okay.
about it.
What do you say about women also coming into the Kemetic culture for the women out there? Yeah.
For women in the Kemetic culture, I think it's just really necessary. And I say that because any society that's worth their salt can recognize that the women are the backbone of that culture, of their society. And the Kemetic culture, that's a principle that they hold, that the women is the backbone of the society. And so if you have strong women, if you have principled women, you're going to have principled children. And you're going to bring those principles into your culture, into your family, into society. And that will just continue to resonate. But if you have women that are more focused on all of the external beauties and not necessarily the internal beauty, then you'll get a society that's corrupt. You'll get a society that will lead one astray. And you won't be focused on the aspects of raising your children, building strong families, cleansing yourself, your heart, your spirit, and raising children with those same type of attributes. So that's where the society has really done a disservice to women, because they've put us at odds with our men. And if you have a woman, and I'll say I was raised in that type of environment where it's like I wanted to be a strong, independent woman where I didn't need a man because I was frustrated by the black man, to be honest with you. So I decided that, I'll just do it on my own. Even when I had a child, I at some point decided I'll have to raise my child on my own because I didn't see the quality that I was looking for or that I needed in my life. So I resisted the man, if you will. So I went on a search of spirituality and stumbled upon the Earth Center. Matter of fact, while I was pregnant with my daughter, and it was all about natural childbirth. And I'm like, well, this is what I've been looking for. This is what I want to do. And my family thought I was crazy. Like, what do you mean you want to have natural childbirth? Don't you want to, have all the anesthesias and all of the drugs, basically? And it was like, I didn't want that, because I'm like, women have been having natural babies for thousands and thousands of years. Why not choose that as an option for me?
Yeah.
And the Earth Center had a newspaper, and it was all about natural childbirth, and that just resonated with me. So I went to one of their classes, and it exposed me to this alternative, just really way of living, way of thinking, way of behaving, so that we can rebuild our families, rebuild our communities, help raise quality children, things of that nature. And in doing that, it's like I found like the quality that I was looking for, people who are, walking the same path because they want an alternative to the barbaric system and society that we've been indoctrinated into. And it's like you look around, you try to find that quality everywhere you go. And I, on the other hand, I wasn't a young person having this quest for the traditions. I was an older person because I, as a young person, I did everything my parents told me to do. They said, go to school, get a good job, get an education, do this, do that. I did all of that, and I was unhappy. I'm like, I've done all this. I have degrees, I have money, I have cars, I have all of this, but I wasn't happy. I wasn't fulfilled. And it's because I didn't know who I was as a human being. So it wasn't until I found the Earth Center that gave me that connection of like who we are as human beings, not necessarily just as a people, but who we are as humans and what we have to do to like restore ourselves worldwide. And that's what I wanted. Like, how do we unify humanity so that we can work together to build better communities, better societies, better families, better people? And it starts with me building who I am. I can't be so concerned about his corruption or your corruption or Donald Trump's corruption. I can't be concerned about that because I'm corrupt. So until I can address and fix my corruption, it doesn't really matter. So if I'm focused on fixing myself and becoming a better person, and he's focused on fixing himself, you're focused on fixing yourself, it's a better society already. We've made society better just by trying to improve ourselves as opposed to being so worried about pointing the finger at the corruptions around us. So those are some of the things that I can say that the Earth Center has really just brought to my life personally, and it is really touching so many people's lives around the globe on that or similar levels.
Okay. Well, that's really deep. That's nice. But so you get an understanding of viewers what's going on right now with the culture area. If you want cultural people, you got to go to cultural events, cultural people. You can't go to strip clubs and get cultural women. Understand me? You can't get a stripper and make your wife. Point blank. Gotta be cultural. Cultural women be in cultural places. You know what I'm saying? That's what my viewers understand. People complain a lot about I can't find the people or doing areas, but they go to different events. They go to clubs, strip clubs, do this. And why my girl, why my wife, and they complain. Because you got the wrong area. You can't do it. I know you see me in the club. I understand that, but hey, it ain't about me, it's about you right now. Remember that. I'm trying to tell you, they can't get cultural women in strip clubs. You want a wife, ain't getting from the stripper. That you convert her, they're very hard to do that. So listen what she's saying about cultural stuff. Get an idea. For your women out there too. Hey, you want all the fire thing, like you want this man, he beamers and he run drug things, but look, he ain't cultural. Come down the line, you ain't what you're looking for. You know what I'm saying? Don't complain later. You heard it on my show live. Listen up. Shut up, watch it, listen. All right? Now, how long have you been into the Earth Center, and what in your life, how did it put you to the area you at now? How did it put you there?
Well, kind of like the two other people here, I basically knew that the system, from an early age, that the system, the modern system, has like a hollowness to it. So naturally, as like a young black man, I just kind of like rebelled against it in various forms. Through my quest for, trying to reconnect to my ancestral knowledge, you might say, I got exposed to Rastafari, the Rastafarian movement, got involved with that, and was a part of that movement for a long time, until I realized that there was actually something bigger than that. And I was actually in Chicago, 2007, and I was just hanging out with somebody that I knew there, and we decided to go to Caribbean. I think it was a Caribbean festival of some sorts. It was in a park. There's a whole bunch of different vendors all around, and I was just walking around, and we were just walking around, and I think it was actually Anthony Casabez. He had this big afro at the time. I saw him, and he gave me a pamphlet, and I looked at it. I really didn't get the depth of it, but I looked at it and was like, okay. And then he also informed me that they had a center in New York as well. So I was like, okay. And I kept that piece of paper with me for a long time. But even when I got back to New York, I never really checked out the Earth Center here. For some reason I was just, I just kind of kept putting it off. But it's always like in the back of my mind, you need to go check this out. You need to go check this out. You need to go check this out. I remember even at one point, I pulled up. It wasn't in the storefront then. It was in Brooklyn in an apartment building. I pulled up in front of the apartment building one morning, and I was like, I think it was orientation time. It's like, But I realized it wasn't a storefront. I had this idea that it would have been a storefront. And then I realized it was kind of an apartment. And I just made that an excuse, and I didn't get out of the car. And I left. But it was still there, like, you need to check this out, you need to check this out, you need to check this out. Till finally, I don't recall how I ended up in Brooklyn at the actual Earth Center. I think I probably just said, okay, I need to go check it out. And I realized where the new location was, and it was actually a storefront. And that one made me a little bit more comfortable, but just walking up in there. So then I walked in, and there was all these welcoming people, and after being exposed to the kind of information that they were holding on to, I was like, wow, this is, here I was thinking like, the traditions and all of this were extinct, you might say. But they were letting me know, like, look, it's here, it's alive, and it's here for you. Like, if you want to be a part of this, just approach it honestly, right? So I was like, wow. And so that's how I got involved. And that was 2012, I think. So it's been a few years now.
Okay.
But I just want to also say that there are so many ways that you can get involved with the Earth Center, because everybody's not going to be an initiate. All of us have, for whatever reasons, decided that we want to dedicate a large portion of our lives to the Earth Center, where we take classes, we travel around the world, we teach, and all these things to help share this knowledge. But some people may not have that time to invest or that commitment to invest. So there's other ways you can get involved with the Earth Center. We have lectures, we have workshops, we have presentations, we have our Natural Healing Center. Every year we take a trip to Medita, and even if you just want to get a glimpse, you can travel with us. We're about to go in a few months.
You can fly over there with us, and we have a trip.
And we go there, and we can spend as little as 2 or 3 weeks or 2 to 3 months. It just really depends on you. And this gives you an exposure to something that you just won't see on National Geographic. You won't see it on the History Channel, because this is the hidden Africa that you don't know about. And so that's an aspect of it where you can get introduced to our culture that it's like really been veiled from society. That's the part that we don't see, but that's the part that's like really missing. So we can go there now and see like the modern Africa, but it's the traditional culture, the traditional component that will really give you the links that we're missing. So when we take the annual trip to Medita, and people will even ask us, well, why are you going there? What are you going to do? what are you going to teach them? And it's like they are the ones that are teaching us. You know, we're the ones who are there to learn because they're the ones that's holding the knowledge. They're the ones that's holding that culture. So in addition to the pilgrimage, you can also get involved with us. We have memberships where you can just participate in community-based initiatives, where if you have an issue going on in your community, if you want to clean your street, we get involved in projects like that where we'll do a yard clean out or a city block clean out. So it's different ways that you can get involved with the Earth Center. We have prison projects where we go and distribute information or knowledge, the same type of knowledge, through a prison outreach. What are some of the other avenues that we...
There are a lot of ways you can get involved. Even as I said before, there are many locations nationwide and worldwide. If you go on our website, on our Facebook, you can find links to those. And you know, you can come by our locations and just hang out and talk. You can call us. There'll always be somebody there. We're at a disposal to talk about any kind of traditional subjects or anything, any interest you may have. We also do events in the public. We'll do lectures, you know, things that are free of charge in the public. Many times, you know, we'll ask donations, but we'll go to some community centers and different shops and do things like that regularly. If you want us to come out, just let us know. We'll come to your community center. We'll come to your shop. We have lectures on time division, holistic healing, mental slavery, spirituality, you know, family values, like all kinds of different subjects. Yeah, and so there's many ways you can get involved. You can come by, hang out. You can bring us out to do lectures in your place. You can order these periodicals. We have a Firefly magazine that we produce, also Sunnyside newspaper. All these books, you can order them and just order them to your house and read. You know, it's like $20, you get a book. You can study on your own. You can always call us. We also, as an organization, have
Study groups.
You can start a study group locally, and if you build up enough people in a study group, we'll open a school in that location as well. We'll send one of our teachers.
Okay.
So yeah, there's many ways you can get involved. We also have corporate membership. So like we're an organization, and you can become a member of our organization either through allied membership, which is the basic membership, or through active membership, which is for the students. But for the public, we offer allied membership. So if you become a member, we have some discussion forums that are coming up this year that we'll do. We have a newsletter, and we also have a General Assembly meeting once a year where you can be involved in discussing things and be a part of the voting process.
Okay.
So yeah, we have that as well, you know. So it's not just coming and studying in the classes, because, you know, coming and studying in the classes, there's a tuition involved, there's a time commitment. That's not for everybody. But it's important for everybody to know that we have all these different ways you can get involved that aren't that deepest level. You know, you can come travel with us to Merita, to Burkina, Togo, all these things. So.
Yeah.
And then
You
we
could get
also
a-
have our healing center.
And the
Is that
health,
what you're gonna-
Okay.
you could get a health consultation as well.
Okay. All right.
So there are services that we provide to the general public as well that, you know, you could always take advantage of.
Okay.
You know.
So where do you see the future of this going? Where do you see the future? 10 years from now, where do you see it going from 10 years from now?
Well, 10 years from now, what we're trying to do is let people know that we're around, that we're here. We've been developing the organization over the last 10 years, you know, setting up these different locations. But, you know, we're open to anybody who wants to come and study. So we want to let people know that this is a human thing, you know, that we're open, whoever you are, wherever you come from, whatever religion, whatever part of the planet you come from, you can come study and just be a part of the organization, you know, or support the organization in some way. And I think through that, we can start in this next period to really restore a lot of this lost knowledge to people, but in a way of more seeing our common realities on the planet, because people aren't that different. So really for this next period, we really reaching out into the world and inviting people to become a part of this, because this is what belongs to everybody. And if we want to have a healthy world for the future, we have to do what makes sense. And it's about knowledge. It's not about politics. It's not about where you're from or what I believe in. And it's not about all that. I don't care where you're from. I've people in what you would consider an opposing religion. I've met people from all faiths that have taught me about humility, and and I've learned countless things from. So it's not like where we get lost in the politics, because we're all human beings. Whether you're from this religion, this part of the world, you have things to offer. You have something that you can contribute to this to make it something like a global effort of us uniting under principles that make sense. So that's really where we're trying to, go with this.
Okay.
Something intelligent.
So it's kind of like Timbuktu. Areas before Alexandria got involved and burned up the library, basically. Right? Now the problem is, are you afraid that maybe something like that will happen again, like maybe in Timbuktu area, there where people get the stuff we're learning now, and maybe futuristic that everything you learned will be erased?
Well, here's the reality about it, because we were talking about the grandeur of the culture before and how it is now, and how we're like in mud huts now. At the end of the Pharaonic period, where we know with the big pyramids and the grandeur and a lot of the large constructions, we went through our own education with that. We as a culture, we saw what we did wrong. We saw the things that we missed that allowed colonialism to happen. And we went into hiding and streamlined everything. Streamlined it to the point where if you go to some of the heaviest temples over there, like people go searching for things, they won't even know they're there, because they'll see an elder sitting in a mud hut with some dusty clothes, and they're like, where's the temple? Where's the thing? Where's the expert? But it's this man who's holding the knowledge. So we've cut off a lot of the fat, a lot of the extravagance, and economize our reality down to something that's streamlined, that's simple to maintain and of the earth. So our initiation and what we offer to the public is something so common that when you are learning and when you're educating yourself, let's say you become involved as an initiate, this thing, you won't be able to support it if you become a risk to it. Because it's not about any wild knowledge, it's about knowing how to harmonize with yourself. So if you can't handle that, if you can't hold that, you will walk away from it before you even get involved in a level where you're a risk to anything. Because we don't have anything to lose anymore. It's not, look at the state the world is in. We're at the bottom. We're at the bottom. So now the best thing that we can do is work on principle and try to elevate people's minds and people's spirit and take advantage of this mashup that's happening right now globally. And that's really where we see it, because honestly, the real treasures are very well protected, and that's just not something someone can come and take.
Okay, so now it's basically just trying to heal the world.
Yes.
Basically. Okay, but see that viewers out there, and now you may see, like you said, and not how the place look, it's what's inside that matters. So you can't judge every area where it looks, thinking they don't have no knowledge to it. So you can't look at a big building, and it could be the most beautiful building in the world, but be empty inside. So what good is it if you don't really go inside and check it out for yourself? You can't judge by the outside, go inside and meet what's in there first. That'd be the hardest at. So what do you see yourself? I mean, 10 years, where you see yourself, each one of y'all, how do you see it progressing in 10 years, where you will be at in 10 years from now? Where do you see yourself at?
Where I see myself at?
10 years from
10
now.
years from now? Probably a little grayer. 10 years from now. Definitely, we're probably going to have a lot more Earth centers around the planet, I'm thinking. That's just because, as I said, for me, I see this as humanity's like hope in a sense. If we're going to continue on this planet, we definitely going to have to change our ways and adjust. And I think reconnecting with nature, which is what this knowledge is doing, is the way, right? It's about survival anyway. That's just what the knowledge is about. It's about survival.
Okay.
It's about survival at the end of the day. So, but then again, in the culture, you also learn that death is like, it's closer to you than even the clothes you wear. So it's like, who knows, man?
Okay.
I could walk out of the studio and die. So we never know. It's
All right.
real.
Yeah.
It's real. So, 10 years from now, me personally, I really don't know. I tend not to think even that far.
More like a project area. Okay, like for the culture in general. How do you think the culture, will be entwined in what you try and present to them? A part of the comedic stage, where will you be at comedically wise?
What I think
different than now.
What I think in the next 10 years, I think you're going to see like a resurgence of indigenous cultures. That's what I'm hoping. I wish we see that, like a resurgence of traditional indigenous knowledge and culture. And I think the Earth Center is like a big part of that, but that would be my great hope, I think. Yeah.
Do you see anything strong? Like, what do you think that you could do? Do you think it did differently in the past for now the future to bring more people into the Earth Center? What do you think that you could bring more into? You think you could do more? What do you think about that?
Oh, as an organization in general? Well, sure. We've had to maintain ourselves at the core, as an organization, and we focused on really strengthening our administration, strengthening our core location, strengthening our location back home. And after the past 10 years, we're really at a point where now we can afford to, with our time and our resources, to do more community outreach. So that's really big for us to be able to get out into the communities, to get out into the public more. So we can afford to now, with the people that we have and the time that we have, to do that. So that's a big change that's kind of coming up, is reaching out into the world.
Okay.
Yeah.
For spiritually and holistic wise, so food and spirituality, how do you see that all entwined in one? The spiritual with the food, because some say it's entwined in one, but the spirituality and the way you eat. Now, holistically wise, do you see that same conjunction?
Sure. It's just life. Like if this really is anything worth talking about, what we're talking about up here, it's just about being practical. It's about doing something that makes sense. So your diet, your spirituality, that's just being aware of different parts of yourself. What you eat's important to be aware of. Your spirit, your mind, your body, all this stuff. So, absolutely. But it's hard to find real food here. Yeah, we were talking about that, right?
Yeah.
You gotta grow your own.
Yep.
Basically, I find out for myself, I have my own garden, and I grow my own stuff in my garden. And most of the stuff in natural areas, in natural herbs, you gotta grow yourself, because like people know it out there. Even I don't really eat meats that much. I may eat fish and chicken, but the meats, they gluing together. They gluing it, yo. They ain't real meat. They're gluing it. So don't think you're eating that real good beef you're talking about, because they're gluing the meat together. It's glue. Let's let you know. So basically, that's why a lot of people got these bad health issues. Because they don't know what these days the products are not real, like you said, not real. They're gluing meats. The chicken got a lot of stuff pumped into them these days.
Chicken is so bad.
So bad?
We have real chickens back home. Like if you eat chicken, it's a completely different animal.
Yeah.
Completely looks different structure, everything. And here when you eat it, it's like eating cotton or something like that. It's like
I do my livestock. There's a livestock spot in Korea I go to get my live chickens. Yeah, I do it. Livestock, I do it. That's right. No chicken. Hey, it's live. I see it. I meet it. And I know who my food gonna be. That's right. Livestock, they do it right there. They take care of it. They feather it down. It tastes real different. It tastes real fresh. Not like that stuff in the stores with all that pumped up preservatives, natural food. Now do you have any more products for the Earth Center you want to show, you want to present? You got any more?
Sure. Well, another thing besides expanding your mind with concepts is also understanding time division. So counting time, like how we do every day, like the date, the calendar, how we measure time, what day of the year it is, our year. We actually have a whole traditional calendar.
Explain that to us. How I want to know.
Well, we have it right here. This is this year's calendar. So we have a traditional sidereal calendar. This is the ancient calendar that's still functional.
That's beautiful. That's nice calendar.
Yeah. It's and all of the basic 12 months of the year function with 10-day weeks. 10-day weeks, 3 weeks per month, and then at the end of the year we have a 5-day week.
10 days. Now,
5 day
let's go on that for a minute.
Yeah.
10 days in a week. Explain that. Because people
Yes.
people right now are bugging out with 10 days a week. They want to know, but 10 days a week. Explain that.
Well, it's tough to live like that. So we have the modern dates in there, so you can kind of judge where you're at. But originally, it's a very clean way of counting time. This whole calendar is based on a star cycle, a cycle with the Sirius star. And once you start subdividing that cycle with the Sirius star, you have very clean math in there. And what we know is the months are divided 30, 30, 30, clean like that. So each week is 10 days like this.
So was that the original calendar?
Yes.
That's the original calendar.
Yes.
In the beginning, it was 10 days.
Yeah. That's
That's
right.
what I want to get to. Okay, so we had 10 days a week, not 7.
That's right, yeah.
So explain how that got broken up in that 7 days stuff. 'Cause people don't like know. How it broken up from 10 to 7. How'd it happen?
Well, there's a lot of history to that. Some of you may know more about the history, but it certainly occurred. And what ended up happening is it became more of an employee thing. So if you can throw people off from their cycles, because if you'll notice, on these weeks we have holy days. So on the 4th day of the week is a day of rest. The 5th day of the week is an ancestral holy day, which is a special day for prayers and offerings to our ancestors, those who have deceased in our line. And then on the 9th day is a divine holy day where we pray and do offerings to the divine. And on the 10th day is a day of rest.
Okay.
So these were very well-established cycles that empowered humans, that empowered culture. So when people were colonizing a lot of these civilizations that used the 10-day calendar, the first thing you will do is disrupt that. So the first thing they did in trying to maintain some harmony was just cut the week in half. And they cut it to 5-day cycles. But that wasn't too hard to navigate because it's just half of 10. It's not hard to navigate that. So eventually they got involved with imposing the 7-day week, which throws the whole phase of the time division off. And a lot of that was instituted as part of a way to destabilize the traditional big cultures that were existing before. For the new cultures who wanted to say, okay, we're starting fresh, we're the new guys on the block, and we're going to give you guys some new calendars and all this kind of stuff.
Constantine and Council Nekhitem.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's what this is.
Oh, okay. So I'm looking. See now, you see that? It's 7 days. 10 days. See how you've been lied to. You think you got a 7 day in a leap year? How about a leap year? Is there a leap year in there?
Yes. Contrary to popular belief, Kemetic people. Now, this is how insane this is. Kemetic people have been aware of that day. And it's every 4 what we call seasonal years, you have an annual renewal day, which comes as a 6th day on that last month of our calendar. So we have 12 months, 30 days per month, and then a 5-day month at the end. So every 4 years we have a 6-day month. Because we're a farming culture. Can you imagine if our culture just counted 365? All it would take would be 180 years until the whole year was thrown upside down.
Wow.
Nobody worth their salt is going to do something that's stupid. This thing was existing with us for thousands and thousands of years. So this is the way as a farming culture we maintain ourselves with the star cycles.
Okay.
But we call it annual renewal day.
Renewal day.
And it happens to be a day also when the kingships are tested. A lot of kings that sit in power and rulers are tested.
Okay. Wow. Okay. Well, we really see what I'm saying? You got to ask questions and know this stuff. 10 days, not 7. See, I'll tell you about that. I told you got to watch and see what's going on with this world. It's a big world out there if you don't know it. Very nice calendar. So repeat your stuff again. Earth Center, get the website, the phone numbers.
Sure. The Earth Center of Manu. We're moving our New York location. We're going to be in New Jersey at 90 Alexander Street in Newark, New Jersey. That will be our office headquarters. We'll still have the same New York phone number. That's 347-529-1399. And we also have a website at www.theearthcenter.org. But that website's under construction, so if you go there, you'll see that it's under construction currently. We also have Facebook under Kebtah. That's Kebtah. That's our Facebook page. So if you could go there, like us, you'll see contacts to all of our locations worldwide. and be able to get in touch with us and get involved either on the membership level, corporate membership level, or just come by, hang out by the school, or maybe order some products, or just come travel with us to Africa. So
Okay.
any of those things.
All right.
Yeah,
Well,
we have
on
YouTube
YouTube as well.
videos, lectures, everything.
okay, well, thank you all very much. It's been an episode of Claude Joe Presents Comedics, and I'd like to thank my guests coming up and inspiring us to be better people and be best of our abilities. And if you want to end this out with a comedic prayer, maybe, for the ancestors, maybe? Thank you.
Sure, I'll end you with the same one that we
Okay.
started with. Nuk hekaupui abem rei hati. Ra netaru heri watiem rei nuk ra iahu nuk bafe hekau. Emre makuru, emre makuru, emre makuru.
All right, thank you very much. Wow, it inspired me a lot, you know, so I hope my viewers enjoyed this a little bit. Next week, it'll be on Claude Joe Presents, where he present the knockout. You know, I'm coming for y'all, so you know who I'm coming for. You know, the Republicans, I'm sorry. Sorry, Nay, but I'll be back next week. But thank you all my viewers, my podcast. Love all of y'all. You know what I'm saying? Peace, and may all us be with you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks,
brother.
man.
Yeah.
Thanks again, bro.
Well,
All right.
yeah. Everybody's going crazy. The world's going crazy. Trump's going crazy. The Senate's going crazy. Bronco going crazy. Everybody's going crazy now.